So I did make up my own term here of survival on ad spend. I think it's going to replace return on ad spend, or again, revenue on ad spend. I mean, really, it's always been return on ad spend, but each dollar allocated, each time spent is essentially trying to determine the long-term profit. And so obviously, the more durable a company is, obviously the longer it has to reap the benefits of lifetime value. And really, each dollar spent, whether it's across channels or if the dollars are spent entirely differently in terms of, let's invest in a clawdbot or that can replace people. Once eventually all the inputs, and again, the way this is going to work is that you're going to be able to prompt. It's already happening. You can prompt your chat, you can chat your OpenClaw to say, what other data sets, what other access would you like to make you better? And I know right now the warnings are to not give it full access, and I've obviously not, I shouldn't say obviously, I haven't done that yet, but I'd say each day gets more and more tempting to give it more and more access. And eventually there's going to be some that are going to opt into it. Some will fail because of the opt-in from that, potentially. But I think what's going to happen more is that two competing brands, two competing companies, eventually two competing nations that opt into this full data input will eventually have more information to be able to figure out the best decisions to be made, where they'll be able to be constantly iterating, constantly changing, constantly running tests, finding out new things that were better to allocate one way or another. Again, there's an optimistic hope that through this you would actually, the allocation, like I said, I responded to Brock. Brock's was a really good read here, but that through this you'd actually, the AI is going to suggest, make a more durable product, make a better service. That's how you get loyalty. And I think that's optimistic, and I'd love to think that's the future, but I think it's, I don't see how the full black mirror isn't the most likely option, where it's going to be more of big companies with big pocketbooks are going to do things to make it harder for a smaller player to exist in a future where if they can continue to squeeze players from existence, I said it's going to be Amazon basics of everything. If they're going to make it so that it's hard to compete on price, the quality is not going to matter enough. I mean, maybe some will say, hey, quality, they'll find the quality angle, but it does seem like there's enough way for larger companies to strangle these smaller ones in a way it's going to be, again, you could say non-competitive, and I think we've already, as I said there, our system's already struggled to know what's competitive and not competitive. Let me know if there's other thoughts you have on this area there, but again, I made my own turn up. I didn't mean to be some kind of play into full-on hyperbole, but I do think this really changes something that's truly making small little iterative changes multiple times a day, and asking for more data to be better and giving a case as to why. What happens if I get this data, if I don't? It's going to be clear. You have to give it as much data as you possibly can, and there are going to be points in time where the human's going to push the button to say, yes, approve of that, I approve of that new channel you spend more on, or I approve of firing that person. But that's just the future it's going to be. That's already in many ways here, and companies are going to benefit. And if you get cute little buddies at home, it's not going to matter that much. Let me know your thoughts on this, and maybe somebody can wake me up on what's more optimistic about this. I think it's going to be something that plays out over months rather than years, but it's not going to happen all instantaneously. Let me know your guys' thoughts.